Do you want to go to Penn? If so, you have found the right video, because today, I'm not going to tell you how I got into Penn, but Heidi is. Heidi is working at Super Tutor Media this summer, and she is going to share with you what her stats are and how she got into Penn and all that kind of good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. All you have to do is click subscribe below this video and go to our website. What's our website, Heidi?
SupertutorTV.com.
Good. All right. Go to our website, SupertutorTV.com/subscribe, and subscribe to our mailing list because you know you want to. And with that, are you ready, Heidi?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, take it away.
Hi everyone, as Brooke just mentioned, my name's Heidi and I'm currently working at SupertutorTV this summer. For this video, I'll be talking about what I did in high school and all my stats and grades and how I got into the University of Pennsylvania. A couple things I want to mention first. I'm currently a rising sophomore, so I've been in the Philadelphia area for 1 year now. And I'm also in the School of Nursing. And I know that at Penn, each college has a little bit of a different admissions process. So my high school is a pretty normal public high school that's slightly competitive. For reference, we're around rank 60 for California and 400 or so in all of US according to the US News and World Report. I was born and raised in California, and I actually wasn't planning on going to the East Coast for college. I only applied to 2 East Coast schools. So the main reason why I ended up applying to Penn is because it's the only Ivy League that has undergrad nursing. On to my stats. My grades were definitely not the best. I had a total of 7 Bs by the end of junior year with an unweighted GPA of 3.84 and a weighted GPA of 4.60. Our school doesn't do class rankings, but instead we have a cutoff index GPA to be valedictorian. But the thing is, anyone can go above the cutoff, so we had around 30 valedictorians at graduation, which I know is a lot, it's kind of weird. And as you might be able to guess with the amount of Bs I had, I wasn't one of them. So I wouldn't say that GPA was a strong point in my application. Despite the fact that I got into Penn without perfect grades, I want to note that I'm not sure if I could have gotten in with any other major, and you'll probably see why as I keep on talking. Penn requires you to send in all your SAT and ACT test scores. I'll start off with my SAT test scores because I did those first. I took the SAT once in October and a second time in January of my junior year. I got a 2120 my first time and a 2150 on my second time with a super score of 2180. We'll put a link below to show you how that converts to a new scale of 1600. And in my eyes, like I said, these scores weren't that great, and I thought that even getting into some UCs would be difficult, especially considering my GPA. So I studied some more. I decided to take some practice ACT tests. I took the ACT in September of my senior year while writing my college essays, which I really don't recommend. I got a 35 composite on the test, and I couldn't believe it. Broken down, it was a 35 English, 35 math, 34 reading, and a 35 science. But I will say that my writing score was a 29, which isn't great, but it's not included in your composite score. And according to Penn's release scores, my SAT scores were definitely towards the lower end. For reading, it was around the 25th percentile, and for writing, it was below the 25th percentile. But for math, it was alright, it was 50 to 75th percentile, and for ACT, I was at the 75th percentile. And as for subject test scores, they weren't that amazing either. I got a 730 on my chemistry and a 700 for math too. I want to note though that I researched, and on Penn's website, they said that the nursing school's recommended subject test was science, preferably chemistry, so I recommend you look up just in case you haven't. For AP scores, I got a lot of 4s. I got a 4 in European history, chemistry, English composition, biology, English language, and microeconomics. I got 5s in Chinese and US history. As for activities, I did a lot. I was very involved with a bunch of things. And in school, my main extracurriculars were journalism, orchestra, and science olympiad. I was involved in these 3 activities for all 4 years of high school. And in journalism, I ended up as managing editor my senior year. And for science olympiad, I was vice president for both junior and senior year. But I was co-vice president for junior year. We competed at regional and state level competition all 4 years that I was on the team. And there were some other small clubs and activities I did, but I don't think any of them added much to my application, or I just didn't even put them on my application. As for outside activities, my main one was a free clinic that I volunteered at since the end of 7th grade. So for my UC application, I wrote an entire essay on this, and for the common application, I put that essay into the additional information section. So at the free clinic, we get assigned patients, and then after we call them over, we do an entire medical interview with them. And we also take their vitals, like their temperature, their pulse, their respiration, and we also take their medical history. And after the doctor's ready, we take them into the doctor, and we basically tell the doctor everything the patient told us. It's just an incredible experience, and I really, really loved it every single time I went for all 6 years I was volunteering there. Everything at the clinic was free, so you could only come if you either didn't have health insurance, and I think they let some people who had very minimal coverage, but it allowed a lot of interaction with a lot of low-income families and people who had completely different backgrounds from my own. I also became a student manager for the free clinic in my senior year. And as for other volunteering experiences, I volunteered at a senior center starting the middle of 10th grade to senior year, and I played my cello there and I talked to the residents. I also did some other minor things that I don't think were super important in my college application, but my total amount of community service hours was around 700 hours or so. Sports-wise, I did Taekwondo since 6th grade. I got my black belt in 10th grade, and I also played lacrosse at my high school for freshman year. But I didn't put lacrosse on my college application because it wasn't something I was particularly passionate or interested about, and I don't think it would have added much to my application. As for cello, I also played in the local private university symphony since 7th grade, but I never did like all-state orchestra or any fancy orchestras, and I never played anywhere outside of California. And I want to say that everything I've mentioned so far, I actively enjoyed doing. I did these activities because I looked forward to them, and I had a lot of fun doing them. And I think you can tell by the amount of dedication and long-term commitment I had to all of my activities. So my journalism teacher was also my 9th grade English teacher, and she wrote one of my recs. She knew me extremely well from working in journalism, and she knew my work ethic and my personality. And as for my other letter, my AP US history teacher wrote it. I did think about how 2 humanities teachers were writing my letters of rec when I was applying only as more sciencey degrees, but it turned out okay. I also had an additional outside letter of rec, which I added for the Penn part of the common application, and it was from a director at the free clinic I volunteered at. So she also knew me really well since I'd been volunteering since 7th grade. So overall, I think my recommendation letters were really good, and they definitely added to my application. Something I haven't mentioned yet that I think was extremely unique and definitely helped set me apart from other applicants is a class that I took in senior year of high school. It was called Advanced Anatomy, but it wasn't just anatomy. We had the incredible opportunity to have 5 cadavers allocated for my class of 28 students. So for my Common App and my other UC essay, I wrote about this experience. I specifically wrote about the first time I made an incision in my cadaver's body and some of my experiences that had led me up to that point. As for my Penn supplement, I wrote very, very specifically on why I became interested in nursing and how I believe that my goals were aligned with Penn's vision for their nurses. I mentioned specific courses and specific professors because I knew that I was particularly interested in a certain field of nursing, which is end-of-life care. And the essay that I mentioned that I put in the additional information section about clinic, I wrote about how you could see my growth and development from a nervous 7th grader to a confident senior manager at the free clinic. I think the essays really showed why I wanted to be a nursing student at Penn, and I think my main essay and my essay on clinic showed my interest in medicine and how I would actively place myself in environments where I can learn as much as possible. And a couple final things. I don't have any demographical hooks. I'm not low income or first generation, and I come from a nice suburban middle-sized city in Southern California. I also didn't apply anywhere early, and I don't have legacy anywhere. I also never paid for any college counselor type of thing, but I did a lot of research myself, and I asked older friends and family members for advice. Lastly, I want to tell everyone that even though I'm currently at the University of Pennsylvania, I didn't get into everywhere I applied to. So all in all, Although I was accepted to Penn with a likely letter, I definitely wasn't a typical candidate that was accepted to everywhere I applied to. So thank you for listening, and I really hope my experience was helpful for you guys. Feel free to ask any questions below, and it doesn't have to just be about the application process. I really love my college experience so far, and if you haven't thought about applying to Penn, you should think about it. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you're applying to college yourself, you should definitely check out some of our other videos here on SupertutorTV. And we also have a lot more resources on our website, SupertutorTV.com. Bye guys!